Hereby requested to attend a meeting of the government committee held on the Thursday, the 9th of July at 6:30 in this chamber. And as yet, can we turn our electronic devices off? To set more during the meeting. Members are reminded to observe the Blyth Town Council Code of Conduct. Council chair will open members of the public 10 minutes before. Is everybody in? Please remember, is everybody signed in? Yes. Remember, the 10 was restricted to apologies and proposed for substitution. Any
substitution. Agent.
yes, right. Apologies for Brian to the yeah. I'll be fine. So apologies for absence. Item 1, we've got Brian Wilson. Yeah. Item 2, disclosure of interest in grant of dispensations. Any?
I haven't received in the chair.
No. Yeah. Item 3, the minutes of the previous governance committee, the minutes of the meeting held 23rd of April 26 were approved at the annual meeting of the council held 14th of May 26. That's a note to everybody to see. Any issues on that? Item 4, the governance committee budget monitoring report and verbal update on the investment account.
I mean, on the budget monitoring to date, it's still very early in the year. And overall, the committees were just developing a couple of weeks back. We got estimate reports, nothing there that shouldn't be there, you know, in terms of normal expenditure. That's probably, if anybody's got any questions,
I'll put a question actually about governance. Bearing in mind government council's responsibilities for what's getting done. What sort of monitoring are we doing for what's getting done as far as Glasgow is concerned? And well, even if I know that the environmental department is responsible for overseeing this, but at the end of the day, if this is a governance committee, surely governance also has got some say in what's being done. And are we not in a position where we can turn around and say to the council, hang on a minute, you haven't been doing the work that we need to be done. We want to have some money back.
I mean, on the first point, I mean, the parent committee is responsible for that. We've set up a partnership board for monitoring. That's carried out by officers about the team placement, providing the core service is reported to that committee. It then goes to the environment committee for eventual approval at council. As far as governance goes, where it's drilled down to particular issues, members of governance have got the opportunity of council to talk about this, and there is if you've seen the agenda for council that's coming up next week, you'll see that there's a council motion in there for an overall review of the services that will get on street cleansing and grounds maintenance. But I think it's up to, I think specifically in this case where we've got a mechanism that flows down over to the operational level, I think it's up to governments to make sure that there is something in place that is being eventually reported to council. So I think as far as that goes, I think the chair of governance should be happy that things are in place and the mechanism in place for problems to be identified and promoted and sorted. As far as money goes, you know, we do go through this process with the county by monitoring. And last year we did get a review because of certain areas of work not being done because of temporary staff, seasonal staff not being in place. So we did get a hefty sum back. We do want service to be done, but there are mechanisms in place for doing if governance, feel that it's not adequate what we're doing through the partnership board, through environment, through the council, then yes, you can put your points forward and take them on board for consideration. But so personally, I think at this stage that we've got enough in place there. So
I think-
recognise.
Sorry, going back before I agree.
So what exactly is the process for governments who's in charge of the financial expenditure? What is the process that's in place for them to make the two environmental committees to take correct steps to make the people who should be doing their statutory duties before I talk about an enhanced service that we're paying for to do their statutory duties to cut the grass. Have they got? Is there a procedure in place for the governance to go to the environmental committee and say, look, what are you doing about this? And if so, can that be done?
I'll come back, I've got you now, I've got you three. I'll take you back to 2013 and Adrian was here and Catherine at the members of close, but we had Mr. Bucknell from the county council and he came in again and asked the council to approve an enhanced service and he gave with acceptable standards, non-acceptable standards of what you should see every time. That's without live town council being involved. So this is an issue that's been going on and on and on. The council anyway supported over 700,000 quid. You know, we'll buy grass cutters, we'll buy road sweepers and everything. I think the starting point for governance is, and it's the talk of the town, it's the talk of every ward. And I think the start should be from now, if you can, is identify every public area of grass that needs cut, borders that need trimmed is on a sheet at county council. An officer has been allocated that as a responsibility, as a paid role. So that officer knows at county council, he has got this area in Newsham, in Coburn, in Crofton, Kitty to manage. Border control, literally cutting the borders, grass cutting, whatever. Get that point. We need it. We need the maps at the front. I know some people have asked for them, and I think it's a very important point here. What's happened in the past has happened. We can't waste any more energy. We need the maps of responsibility for every ward because we're all getting slated. And from that point, speak to the team down here. What are we responsible for now? And that we'll look at the responsibility, when this should be cut, why this should be cut, and not what we've seen at the council yesterday, where a good question was asked and it was distracted the rubbish on the A189 highway. You know, that's not what the people apply want to hear. I think we should look at the maps, what they've got, and look at the responsibilities in the are they.
Sorry if that's an issue, because this may answer some for you, Dan. If I can just say as well that the partnership and our main impact is the county council about paying, not paying, you know, complaining about. That's on the enhanced service. This council doesn't pay anything towards any blade of grass being cut. I think the most we can do is to say, you know, in our role as the council, so some of the residents do get confused because the council is the council at the end of the day. We can say, you know, we have had these many complaints about grass cutting and we are passing them on. You appreciate, you know, we kind of hit them with a big stick and stop paying your money because we don't pay anything for that service. So we are a little bit limited in what we do in that respect. If they don't start doing the services that we're after, you know, like strimming the play areas or emptying the bins with greater frequency, then we can't take action because we're actually giving the money forward. And indeed, you know, last year we got money back for various aspects of the service that I didn't carry out because of, you know, breakdown of machinery, because of the seasonal staff leaving and not being able to get replacements in quickly enough. So we did get money back, but certainly on the other front, can say, just to let you know, never mind fix my street, but we are getting, if we are But I will say we don't get many complaints from the locals. We don't, as a council, we don't. But if we did, then I think we should write and say, you know, give me the heads up here.
I'll give other people the opportunity to speak.
I mean, we're rushing through this. If you want one full back, then we'll bring it out here. We'll go back to you.
No, I'm fine.
Not be, Denise, deal with them.
Right, my question was more about civic expenses, just staff, the cost of the civic
Sorry?
expenses. 503.
I'm fighting.
Just wondering if that's the cost of the annual town meetings. There's a break.
Yeah, the £1,400.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the vast majority of that was for hire of the room, the hospitality, the various awards that we got, getting them framed, the photography. Things like that. So that's solely in connection with that.
Denise?
Yeah, I had a question on maintenance expenditure as well, but since David raised the press, I just wanted to say I don't think town or parish councils should be using their own precepts to proper statutory service that should be at an acceptable standard. And this is the point I was raising at previous meeting with the county, and the answer was that when they work on the budget for the coming year, they want a full cross-party help on that budget, because it's quite clear that because of all the towns and parishes putting money in to that service, they didn't put that money aside themselves, and this is where it's struggling. This is why the service has dropped down. So, you know, we've had assurances from the county that we are going to look at that in their budget going forward for the next year with our cross-party help to improve that to an acceptable standard. And then we should be back to wherever it was way before I was even elected. But I don't think that we should be giving any enhanced services, because it props up another service we could be having. Obviously, the different services like the watering of our flowers, I'm not talking about those, I'm talking about when we're asking for the weed to be done and it hasn't been done, we're paying for it. And in the past, when we asked for the grass to be done and it didn't get done and we paid for it, and we need to stop as a council propping the county council on that service. They get their own precept for that, and it's the same conversation we had in the past when we were talking about the police and the the extra service there. When we were saying they have their own precept too, everybody's got to manage their own budget, and I don't think that our budget should be touched by that. But my question on expenditure anyway,
Can I just come back on that one, just and go back, but I think it's, and I'm repeating myself, yes, equally important to emphasise the point. I agree fully with you. From now and from tonight, we've got to be able to see, in my opinion, as councillors, equal here, because of the intensity of the town on more social media. We need to see the maps. We need to see what the Thumland County Council have a duty in our rural areas of Blytown Council. I know that's separate jurisdictions. We need to see the maps that they also, and then if we can quickly identify that area there in Kitty, that area there is belongs to the council. It should have been good May, June, July. It hasn't, and we've got to give the councillors due. You get breakdowns, you get sicknesses, you get big weathers, but at least we can manage better. Because at the minute, every ward, we're all getting slated, in my opinion, every one of them in different wards. And at the end of the day, we don't know who's responsible what or really what we should know. Come back, that's sorry about that.
yeah, it was just on the travel and substance. What was all of that? The 1,400 this year, because we are very early in the year, and that just seems to be quite a lot.
It's, I mean, there is a budget. It is in line with the budget. The budget is made up, that £7,000 is we've got a vehicle, electric vehicle that they're used for, you know, carrying the players, parts and brushes and spades and things like that, replacement things for bush hogs. And that's on a lease agreement through the county council lease the vehicle and we pay for that lease. So the lease is actually £500 a month. So that's the bulk of that cost. There is very small other costs in there with if an officer used his car, her car to travel, you know, to somewhere they are allowed to claim. But that's very minimal. But the bulk of that 7,000 is going to be for the lease vehicle.
Yeah, that makes sense now.
Gabriel?
It's going back to the grass cutting. The weeds in particular, everywhere you go, blight is just, it's absolutely disgraceful at this moment in time. I know it's growing time, when you see them come out and they don't put anything that kills off the weeds anymore, go along and just cut the tops off them, they leave the roots. I watched them last year. So what happens the next time? They come at greater force, much bigger. And it's like you go to Mobile, and I go up there quite regularly. You will not see anywhere in the central Mobile that looks like the centre of Blythe. It's just shocking, absolutely shocking. I mean, even alongside Morrison's, they should be kicked at the backside as well, because they're not doing anything to enhance that area. There's a woman got a tent there now. She's living in a tent. No, it's a woman. And outside of it. Well, I was talking to her. She's living in the green tent. I don't know how it's like a child's tent. And it's just near boys. If you come out of Boys Row, you see her. She's in there. Maybe she might have a There's broken big down. lads. Yes.
That's, no, she was there talking to him.
Well, she told me she was there and she wanted a viewing house. But it's not just that. It's depressing. When you go around the town, you got that lovely new building in the marketplace, and somebody needs to kick up the backside for the weeds. Every single street, corner, you know, opposite Morrison's, along where the hairdressers is, and everybody's complaining about it, and you can't tell them anything because you just say, "Well, what can we do? What can you do?" You know, we're at the mercy of others for to do something about it.
I think just
Something that I did raise as well a few months ago. They've been out with the weed spraying, but it's not the weeds that we're doing, it's around the base of the trees again.
Yeah.
And I was horrified when I seen it a couple of weeks ago, because that's why the trees are dying. I mean, they're cutting them down quite regularly along Broadway now, simply because you can look at the bark of the tree and you can see it's actually dying. So have we requested that they stop doing that? It's easy to come with the strimmer. How many trees are there along Broadway or anywhere else, for instance? It's not acceptable. It's an easy ways of doing things, but long term, it's a costly ways of doing things because it kills the trees off. And I do hope that we try to do something to stop that here, at least. I know I mentioned it before, and as I said, they have been out with but they forgot the weeds. They just did it around the barks of the trees. It's not good enough because people, somebody said to me yesterday morning, we do pay our council tax and look what we're getting. Even Cromwellton isn't in the mess that Blythe's in at the minute. It is depressing.
if I could bring Malcolm in.
Can I just say, I mean, there's going to be probably the vast majority of members in the room have some similar, very similar examples, just different streets and different trees. We are trying to bring forward a partnership meeting with the county council. I mean, if I can just ask all members who are here and volunteer as well, so that if they've got any particular issues like that in the ward, any improvements that they think of, any queries, why are they doing it this way as opposed to that way, the county council might have a very valid reason to do it. But if we have all of these, we'll be able to feed them in, get responses, and then feed them back each and all really. So if we can do that, but as I say, there's a partnership board coming up. There's an agenda paper going out for the full council next week, where when you read it, you'll see that there's been a motion put forward by Natalie, where it's for the council to agree to a full review of the partnership and Natalie has actually listed a number of options that she'd like to see. This is for all the council to look at, all the council to consider and come up with a yes or a no. And then officers will come back and go through each one and report back to you. But and that will cover some of the issues that have been raised about payments and non-performance and things like that.
Yeah, I'll move on to Dan, then we'll, then Catherine, then we'll give it to.
You've got Denise.
I'll put Dan first. Denise, deal with Dan, and you. Thank you.
It's on the agenda. I've got 3 queries, if it's okay, just to take them all on block, Chair, then I'll just have the answer at the end. They're all on the first page. Training, is there any training that's been on so far? And cleaning, it's been over budget on
Sorry,
cleaning.
what was the second one? Training was
First one was training, number 1003.
Yeah.
Second one is 2011 cleaning, there's been over expenditure on cleaning. And the last one is 3005 and 3006. Is there enough funding for any further software updates? Because that looks like we need a bigger budget for that potentially.
First one, we haven't spent it on training so far. We have identified something that is in relation to events, which will be sending the events officer on. It's all about security of events and how we do things, which will have a benefit later on down the line because we're not be so reliant upon this. So that's the only thing that's in place on that. The software license fees. Yes, one early there, about 1,500 or so, 2,000 short. But a lot of these things are front-ended with our email licenses for all the members, and even for staff and for Microsoft licenses, and you pay them all at the. It's a front year-end payment. You know, there's other things. Insurance tends to towards the back end of the year. Other budgets are profiled 12 months ago. Yeah, that's front end. The other one, that is clean. That's a. We'll have to check that one out, and what we'll do is we'll circulate members with you. And I think that must be an error. It's certainly. It should just be.
It was just in case we needed a bigger budget for next time.
Yeah, no, it's,
Thank you,
that's an
Chair.
error.
Lisa, business cut first, then you.
Dan, that's my question. I wanted to know about the other budget I was taking.
I'll say the same of this. I'm just gonna say they're looking lovely because they're now wildflowers, but there's flowers coming up in Cup and Cake. Anyway, beside the Morrison's land was from the doctor's surgery along that side, comes down the front side, the side of it, goes all the way down past the post office. That all belongs to Morrison's. I happened in, had a chat with the manager. They said they're gonna get it sorted, like I said last day. They've got to get in touch with their big bosses, and then they're going to look at getting the money from them to do the work. And this way it makes it a longer process. But can we not intervene on that, Malcolm, as being the town council? Can you not put a letter in to them, to Morrison's itself? Because we can keep doing it. I mean, last year they cut it back, but it took forever to do it. This year, it's still ongoing. It's never been touched. But he said they haven't had the response from the head office and that. And that's always the case. It's a new manager again, and this is a blooming problem.
I've been down twice this year, spoken to the first guy, I'm gonna sort it all out. Went back after 4 weeks, he left,
That's right.
went and seen the next one, right, oh, no problem, here's me email, here's me number. Not a jot, went down and seen him again, sorry, I'm too busy, we're getting new fridge freezers in. Right.
I've got a chat with him, with her, but she's saying that they're going to get in touch with head office and that to get it to for the work, and they've got to give the go ahead for the money and that. But I just thought as a town council, could we not intervene in it?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, again, with the wishes of the members, yeah, we can certainly rate and say, we're doing our bit to improve the town.
Yeah.
By a paid service with the county council, by voluntary, that would go.
Volunteers on Tuesday, go
Yeah,
around.
so. Right,
Mm.
and it's just been mentioned about the enforcement, so we'll certainly we can put in a letter saying that we're doing our bit. But a bit, I haven't got any control of, we are receiving not very good comments about.
We need to put, I mean,
Yeah.
the town council is getting a blame for it, and it's not the town council now. I mean, I never reply to people who's putting rubbish on Facebook. And I had to reply this time, but some of the things that come out with, it's nobody's business. I said, no, it's not town council, it's Morrison's it belongs to.
But certainly what we'll do is, after this meeting, we'll get the best description that we can to describe that area. We'll pick that up after.
Tracy?
I've just asked, member Civic, 5004, there's a budget of £2,000 for town twinning. Why is that one? Don't do that anymore.
We do.
Do it?
Yes, it's
What's the name?
within,
Sorry.
the council don't fund a twinning group to go to Germany as the previous Clyde Valley did.
Okay,
That was a council funding.
yeah,
It's now,
Citizens.
a more community type of civic group that's privately funded, if you like. And I can say with good authority that the group that goes over pays their own flights, holidays, and entertainment when they're there. So it's all out of their own pocket. There is a reciprocal arrangement where the German group will send over some of their membership. And it may have been this year, but it looks as though it's going to be next year now. Now, this council have committed to, when the German group come over, and we've got the charter, it's over 60 years now. When they come over, the council to say thank you for all the friendship over the years, we do arrange a civic meal for them. The last few have been at the Masonic Hall. And that would be a simple 3-course meal where members were invited with their partners, and we get all that charitable groups in the Rotary, the RNLI, people like that. The German visitors, and we share the night together, and that would generally pay for that. And that's why there's a budget in this year, because it was initially thought that the German people would come over this year. Looks as though they're going to come over next year. So within the budget for next year, that'll be a similar amount for approval. In addition to this, every other year, in Zolingen, there is a festival in the August time, and the Zolingen Council, the mayor of Zolingen Council, who isn't a civic mayor, it's more of a political mayor, they invite the mayors and the leaders of all the towns that they're twinned with. So this year, there should have been an invite for our mayor. But unfortunately, that aspect of the festival, because of illness and other arrangements that they can't get on, there isn't going to be that facility, but they're still hoping to be able to do something. So every other year, they will invite our mayor and partner to go over there. And all that this council would pay for, and that's part of it, which we part of this 2,000, would be the airfares. In Zolingen, the council there paid for all the telecommunication, taxi transport, meals for the weekend over there. So that's why it's in the budget.
okay, thank you, Martin.
Can I just mention something about it? The reason it might not be this year is because they changed their mayors this year. So it's, we used to have Tim, he's not the mayor anymore, Burgomaster. We've now got a Tory mayor, but he hasn't got his head around things yet, so that's probably why it's been cancelled. Because I keep in touch with the,
Next one.
With main invites as well, it's got to come through live town council, is that right? All main
Yeah, I mean,
invites.
I've been in constant touch with the people in zoning over the past few months, and yes, I would receive it, and then I would speak to them before go through the invite.
Good. Everybody happy with item 4 or any more? Good. Moving on to item 5, this is the report strategic planning. In summary, we're asking this committee to recommend to approve the commencement of a comprehensive review of the council's strategic plan. Agree that the review will include the development of the new strategic plan, a medium-term financial strategy, a revised performance management framework, and any consequential amendments to support the strategies, including the investment and reserve strategy. Excuse me. Approved the proposed program of member and community engagement, and authorize the town clerk to procure external facilitation if needed within the approved consultancy budget, and the last one, receive a further report setting out the draft strategy for approval. Any?
I mean, yeah, I mean, as Elaine has written this, summary report for you, she's got apologies that she can't be here tonight. But the report that, sorry, the strategy document that you see there, which was formulated in 2013, there's some revisions which were followed through at 7. That just set out the council's vision, where we are, where we want to go. And the reason it wasn't reviewed earlier, if you like, was just because we've just had some new objectives a few years earlier. Plus, of course, with elections coming up 2020, can't afford just to wait a little bit longer until we've got new membership on board. But it's just it's something that does take workshops. It takes a lot of thinking, dialogue, discussion, and it'll be an interesting exercise. Everything that you want to plan to do as a council, you start setting all those things in place. Sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah, yes, on page 3, there's an amendment on there, with a forward, live town council, in addition to its responsibility for allotments, is responsible for play areas, public seats,
page 3,
page 3.
directly work.
Yes, this is the report.
So the forward, on this forward, page 3.
No, if I can just say that, are you looking at the strategic plan?
yeah.
Yeah, I think,
Oh, right,
I think if I can request politely that members use this, it's just what was in place. But this is, I think as Denise was just about to say, it has run its course, if you like. There might be a lot of things in here which come up again and, made stronger. But I don't think this is the time to comment on what there has been in this meeting. I think it's just agreeing the way
All
forward.
right, it was just, you were responsible for Broadway public convenience.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. At the time we were, but as I say, this was a plan that was written in 2013. The public convenience, for people that don't know, it was next to the gateway signs and the 2 brick planters on that part of the field. And there used to be a convenience there, which I think was in the previous 10, when we had to knock it down. And that was how it was picked up. That was the only council toilet that we had.
Right.
The nicest building down as well. Which is he's doing as well. Okay, thanks for that, David, but is that, so really it's like the strategic planning page 1, 2, 3. And these things are obviously for going forward. the strategic plan 30-23 is like kind of now, it's not this short as such, because it's still working on,
Oh, yeah.
you know, it's still going ahead, but, I think that's another one.
You know, I don't know if anybody's got any thoughts on, I mean, there is a need for it. It is good practice as you're all. It's just, we've used this kind of model before about, you know, getting everybody together in workshops and just talking openly about what you think your priorities are and splitting people up so you're not with like people. You're getting a little groups and you can talk openly about why you think this is more important than that. Then you'll probably, you know, have to put them in priorities and things like this, and then it's all.
And what will be the date, what it's fairly some from to, what will be, what's that period?
Well, I hope it was, you know, things were planned, some of them 2026 to or 2027 for the next years. I mean, you might agree that 10 years is too long, for example, you know,
Yeah.
but it never stops you from reviewing something. You know, it's because
We'll be set on 10 years, like, with us, one.
you can do, or you can have shorter, but you've got to be mindful, even if you set it for 10 years, that you don't lose touch of what's in there and if there's a need to change it. Yeah.
Elise,
You know, the old strategic plan that you give as an example, you know, it's from the 2023. What sort of follow-up work have we done to see what targets we hit and we miss within that strategic plan? And if we don't have that, can we have that at the members' workshops, please, so that we understand what was achievable and wasn't?
Yeah.
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 sorry, Dan,
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just similar to what Lisa just said out in the page 3, but in the bottom where it talks about the works that we developed. I would like to see something like a financial strategy plan, which will include like scenarios so members can understand the impact of inflation or change in income. So we've got scenarios prepared. So members understand. I mean, we might not all be able to attend, but I'd like just to have those ready for members. If possible. That would be very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, we could have it on a little workshop, so we're trying to say, you know, this is your base budget, and if inflation went that way, you know, what impact it would have to the pound on the taxpayer, on the boundary taxpayer. Yeah, we can do some examples like that.
other questions? So, what can I ask the committee, can we recommend the points raised in, agenda item 5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Date and time of next week, the next week, the governance committee will hold the council firm forms and then those, yeah, on 6th of October 26, up to 6:30.
So can I just say that on item 5, you know, there is a word missing in the recommendation. We'll be recommending this to council, so all we can say is governance committee has recommended this, and that will be going forward, that will be council. Okay. That would be, we'll just discuss that when we go through the next section.
From those next week.
That makes it.
Everybody happy with that?
Yeah.